All right, so swinging all the way over to the West Coast, I'm excited to be joined by Cole Cullins. Cole, do you mind telling us a little bit about yourself, where you live, how long you've been riding?
Yeah, I live in Phoenix now. I grew up in Southern California. I have been riding since I was 3 years old or so, so that's 18 years now. Um, didn't get super serious about it till I was 10, 12, somewhere around there. Um, I ride a 300. I've been riding nationals 7 or 8 years, something like that. I rode my first one when I was 13. Yeah.
That's a long time. Like you're a lot younger than I am, but you've been
Mhm.
riding way longer. Is that all? Now, when you started riding, did you start riding on the national line with Team Beta, or when did that transition happen?
My very first year, like I said, I was 13. My brother was riding for Beta at the time, actually. And that was right when he was transitioning from trials to endurocross. And so he was pretty much done riding trials, but he still rode for Beta. And so my first year, he was minding for me. And so I was kind of in the pits, like being there, but I wasn't on the team. But then the next year, 2018, was my first year riding for him and been riding for him ever since.
Awesome, awesome. We're excited to talk to you today, especially with all the experience that you have. Being a pro rider, I'm sure you've got some perspective that's going to be a lot different than for someone like me who's just coming in. So, do you mind talking a little bit about choosing the right line? If someone was going to start riding nationals, maybe they've done some locals and they're thinking about riding competitively on the national level, or even just for fun, what advice would you have for someone as they're considering what line to choose?
For most guys, the vast majority at least, I would say go ride the green line, ride Clubman, go just if you're doing it just for the experience, just go ride Clubman, have a good time. Don't necessarily push yourself too hard, but it sort of depends on what your experience level is and what your goals are. If you're going in like, yeah, I want to be winning a championship, then if you're riding a line that's over your head, you're not going to do well or you're not going to win a championship, right? But if you're going in, hey, I want to have a good time, I just want to go have fun. As my dad always says, whenever somebody says they want to have fun, the most fun you'll have is winning. So go ride. Generally, to start, I would just say ride an easier line. And then as you keep coming back, gaining more experience, start moving up and work your way through the classes.
Yeah, now you've done that, working your way through the classes. Do you
Hmm.
mind sharing a little bit about kind of the goals that you had that helped you attain some of the competitiveness that you did? How do you kind of look at the season or the line you're riding and set realistic goals?
Yeah. So it's kind of easier when you're younger, I think, because you go in and you want to move up a class once you've won. And for a lot of older guys, it's a lot harder to do that, especially when you're not riding like an age restricted class, essentially. Because for the kids, you're just competing against the other kids, you're competing against each other. You've got the same 3 or 4 kids that you're against all the way up. And so for the older guys, it's a little harder to have a clear when is it my time to go up? When should I do it? But I think coming in with a goal that's not necessarily I want to win or I want to podium or whatever is usually better. I like the ride as good as you can. I want to come in, gain experience, do the best riding I can do. That's where I'm at. I want to go to the events. I want to ride as good as I can ride. Um, and I think that's really the best, in my opinion, is just set goals that are realistic and not gonna drive you nuts if you don't do it inherently. I feel like
Sure.
I'm
So more of
talking
like an
just
open goal that doesn't have a concrete, I want to be on the podium or I want to get less than 20 points, but
mhm.
it's something that's more open,
Yeah.
right? Something that's broad. I want to ride as best I can. I want to be
Hmm.
happy with my riding when it's over, stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Or if you're there, just I want to have a good time, or I want to experience this new place I've never been, or I want to experience a national. Like that's my whole goal is to finish and not get dehydrated or not, whatever your goal is, focus on that and do the best you can. As the day progresses, your goals may change as you see, okay, I got 10 points on my first loop. All right, well then I want to finish the whole day with less than 20. Or you say, oh, I'm third after the first loop. I want a podium today, right? as the day progresses, your goals change.
So do you find yourself looking at the scoreboard, comparing yourself to others after each loop, and does that get in your head, or you're able to kind of just work through that? Because I know for me, I'm better if I don't look at the scores, because if I'm doing really good, then I'm like, oh, I can win, and then it just, I don't know, my riding shifts to focusing on others and my score versus their score, instead of just like ride the best that you can in the moment. You know what I'm saying? Like for me, I don't do as well looking at scores. So is that something that you've, with your experience, have gotten used to?
Yeah. Yes and no. It depends on if I am expecting to do well or not, honestly. A quick little side note, if you don't mind. A few years ago, my first year riding expert, hadn't been doing very well all season. And then going into the round in Kingman, the first day, the first 2 loops, I had the best loop both days, was winning by a pretty decent margin going into the last loop. I was like, dude, I got this. Hadn't podiumed yet to that point in the year. And looked at the scores and I was like, I'm so far ahead. I got this. Blew it. Totally lost it. Just blew it. Right. But then the next year I came in a lot more prepared, a lot better rider, like just better rider the next year, riding expert, and looked at the scores every round, saw even if I was behind what I needed to do, and was much more comfortable with it. And so I'll sometimes have a problem with it if I'm not expecting to do well and then I start to do well and then I let the pressure get to me. But if I've come into it and I feel good with where I'm at and like, yeah, this is what should be happening here, then I like looking. I like to know where I'm at, what I need to do.
Good. Well, I've appreciated talking to you. Any other advice for someone who is just starting out and thinking of riding the national? Anything else that you would want to leave them with?
Yeah. If you can, if you're just starting in trials and you can, there's one near, go check a national, go like you did, I think, go see one, go see what it's all about, look at the lines. And I think that's the best thing to do when you first start out riding trials and you're thinking about doing nationals. Obviously for a lot of people, there's not going to be one near them. And so they don't want to drive 10 hours to go watch a national. It just doesn't make sense. But if you can do that, I think that's a really good place to start.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, hopefully when we get to some of these nationals and someone may be inexperienced, I might be able to make some video of this is what it looks like and this is kind of how a section played out. But it's the same as a local. It's just on steroids, right? It's just like really well set up and the loop is really long. But I've really enjoyed it and I look forward to riding it with you. Thanks for your time.
Yeah. Yeah.